365 Days of Horsemanship, day 201. Pretty happy with today. I came up again after a long day at work. I'm still in my few days of just not having as much time and really bringing things back to the basics and reducing my expectations for each session. And I actually feel really happy with how things went today. I feel like I offered a really good energy to the horses. I feel like my listening ears were on and I made good decisions and I had good feel and timing. And yeah, they were quite short sessions, but I think that they were really useful and really powerful, and I'm really happy about that. I went to Lawrence first and he was standing like in a group of the herd, just grazing, and so I just was kind of walking around, and then as I was just coming past I saw him look up at me, so I stopped there and just went into my flow, just focusing on my breath. And quite soon he came over to see me, which was really nice compared to, you know, a few days ago where he was ignoring me. It was really nice to be sought out, definitely. And really encourages me that actually this is the way. This is the way. This reverse psychology is, it works. And yeah, so then basically just, I found that sort of every 4 to 5 breaths, something would change. So I never really got to my 8 breaths. And I had this whole thing in my head where I was like, oh, you know, like, when I get to my 8 breaths, then the next thing I'll do is I'll do the touching distance. And it just didn't happen because he had all these lovely focus changes. They did a really nice long one where he was looking at the herd, looking at the environment even. And I thought, oh, should I finish there? But I thought, no, I'll wait for the next one. And just waited again, just moving every time there was a nice change. And yeah, then he looked up again and we went into a nice long sleep together. And then he had a really lovely lick and chew, which I just thought was really super. And I went to leave at that point, but he actually pulled with me when I took that one step. So then I decided to stay with him for a little longer. He went back to his grazing, and so then I was with him again. And yeah, then he looked up again and did a nice long lick and chew, and I decided to leave it there. And it was really nice. It just felt really just enjoyable for him, and I felt like I was focusing on all the right things. And I think I just need to stay with my eyes mentally on this idea of the focus changes and the curiosity, and building the curiosity being the most important thing, because ultimately that way things kind of beget themselves, and I don't need to try to force the progression all the time. If I just trust the process and just every day I turn up and I try to create more and more curiosity, I'm going to get to a point where the obvious next steps are going to be the things I want to do, rather than me always trying to stretch the boundaries all the time. Actually just being where we are and working with where we are and rewarding what I see, essentially, a lot more than trying to be the, you know, get there the fastest all the time. So that was really good. Then I went to Mia, and she was resting. And on approach to her, it was interesting because I felt like I initially stopped, but because, especially I think because she's white, I find it hard to see her in the dark. I know it feels like it should be the other way around, but against like the backdrop of the sky, it's harder for me to see like when her face would move or whatever from a distance, whereas Lawrence kind of like casts his own shadow, so it's a bit easier with him. But yeah, so Mia, I came up, I was again in flow. I think I was a little more distracted. I was getting a little bit more mentally tired by the time I got to Mia, because I had quite a good session with Lawrence. And I, after some time, wanted to come closer, counted my 8 breaths, came in closer, and she stopped me at one point. Well, she initially, when I started walking towards her, the ears started going back and I started to feel this irritation, and I felt that I had approached too close. And I think in the past, I might not have done anything about that, but I'm really trying hard to recognize what I'm seeing and react to it. And what I was seeing was this tense expression with the ears back. I'm like, okay, I need to step back a few steps. So I stepped back until I felt like there was a minute change. I couldn't really identify what I saw because it was so dark. I just felt like things had shifted slightly. Stayed there for a bit, and I was then able... one of the other horses came up to say hello, and then I was able to kind of come past them. And yeah, actually she had a couple of other focus changes before that. And actually what was really nice was just being more comfortable with allowing a response to things. Like at one point she did like a little blowout, and I was really happy then moving on that. I didn't really overthink it too much, and I wasn't trying to make life difficult for her either, which was really, I think, a big shift. This other horse came up to see me, and I could see that she was looking at me. I could feel she was looking at me, and I did my usual, nose to hand, and then walked past him, and he walked past me, and I went to go and find a new place of flow, and Mia did loads and loads of licking and chewing. She then looked at her herd mate. I was then in flow with her about that. Then she looked back out towards the environment and started licking and chewing again, so I left it there. Because that, to me, is, she has such trouble with herd relationships that any positive feeling or feeling of reduced stress or learning that is connected to the herd is like really super for me. So I left it there. It's been raining quite a lot today. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's been really nice actually to feel like that I came up and it was successful, even in this weather. And yeah, and I was thinking, while I was resting with Lawrence, actually, this is great. Like, having the time to do this stuff is really great. And actually, like, if this is what works these days, this is what I should invest the time in, is these real days where I don't have any other goals other than this curiosity. And I think it also makes me feel like I have an allowance that I can spend a little bit and try some things. And I think that's kind of how I feel about the fitness stuff, where it's like, like I earn, and then I almost am like giving myself an allowance. Like, I don't want to spend everything, just like, a few days a week, then we do a little more as well as the curiosity. And then these other days when we just do curiosity based stuff, that's okay too. Especially as we're coming into, the shortest days of the year now. Sort of for the next couple of months, it's going to be really dark all the time, pretty much when I'm here. Any day that I'm working, unless I'm on a late. So yeah, so I think just being okay with that. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm looking forward to having, the most productive winter yet. Yeah, so yeah, overall, really good day.